Johnson. President Rogie.
I'm here. Okay, acceptance of the meeting agenda for December 18th, 2024. Is there a motion for the agenda?
I move to accept the agenda for the meeting held of December 2024.
Moved in second and roll call.
Commissioner Clemens? Yes. Commissioner Chambers?
Yes.
Commissioner Stalling?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
And President Rogie.
Yes. And certification of record of the executive session held before this meeting. I hereby certify that nothing has been discussed in the executive session held immediately before the open meeting except those items specified and listed in the notice. And the board's pleasure. Moved in second and roll call.
Commissioner Clemens?
Yes.
Commissioner Chambers?
Yes.
Commissioner Stalling?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
And President Rogie.
Yes. The acceptance of the minutes from the meeting held on December 4th, 2024. And a motion?
Mr. President, I move for the acceptance of the minutes from the meeting held on December the 4th, 2024.
Second.
Moved in second and roll call.
Commissioner Clemens?
Yes.
Commissioner Chambers?
Yes.
Commissioner Stalling?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
And President Rogie.
Yes. And now public comment. Public comment. Public.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
On agenda items only. Yeah. So we can.
The public.
Yeah, okay. So stand here?
Stand here.
But then I'm off the screen.
Oh, you're right in there.
Oh, there I am, okay.
It'll follow
you. Merry Christmas, everybody. And I do want to comment on an item that is on the agenda, the resolution approving and authorizing the award of a contract with Signal Tech for illuminated signage. Now, I'm not sure members of the commission realize that there are city ordinances that restrict certain illuminated signage in the city. Signage that is flashing or changing or has specific restrictions based on its proximity to the road. So we're not clear on what kind of illuminated signage that you're putting up. I mean, if you're putting up just a sign that's illuminated, that may be fine. But if you're putting up a sign with flashing lights, that's, with all this changing stuff, that could be in violation of city ordinance because they recognize that these flashing, glaring signs that are illuminated maybe to beyond the normal requirements can be a distraction and can cause accidents. And these accidents may even injure or people may die because of the illuminated signage that the city is contemplating. So please consider the city ordinance before you pass this signage, or tell the tech, Signal Tech, make sure that they comply with the city ordinance, because that city ordinance is there to protect residents of our city. And maybe you too, if you're driving and you veer off the road and, So everyone, a Merry Christmas, and be safe while you're driving past those illuminated signs. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Public comment? Public comment? And public comment is closed. We're now into, is there no presentations? Resolution number 7522, a resolution of the City of Gary Redevelopment Commission and approving and authorizing to transfer real property from the City of Gary Redevelopment Commission to the Gary Housing Authority. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, President Rogi. Resolution number 7522, resolution with the City of Gary Redevelopment Commission of the City of Gary, Indiana, as a record owner of certain property located here in the City of Gary, Indiana, Lake County. More particularly is described as 705 Connecticut Street, 709 Connecticut Street, 715 through 23 Connecticut Street, 741 Connecticut Street, 745 Connecticut Street, 749 Connecticut Street, 755 through 61 Connecticut Street, 801 Connecticut Street, 817 Connecticut Street, 825 Connecticut Street, 829 through 31 Connecticut Street, 768 Pennsylvania Street, 736 through 60 Pennsylvania Street, and 220 East 8th Avenue. The Indiana state statute provides the transfer of real property between governmental entities and private entities upon terms and conditions as agreed upon by said parties. The subject properties are located within the City of Gary Redevelopment Commission areas of redevelopment. The Gary Housing Authority has performed all requisite inspections and finds these parcels to be acceptable for the development of veterans housing as infill development opportunities within the downtown core. So I ask that the commission proceed in voting for the transfer of these properties for said such redevelopment. President Rogi.
Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve Resolution 7522.
Second.
Moving in second. Discussion.
I have some discussion.
Go ahead, sir.
I am actually for this, for our soldiers, those that have died and risked their lives for this country. I did have some questions regarding how it was presented to us, and I still have questions, but I deal with daily the soldiers and those that risk their lives for our community. I know this isn't the place to really talk about what's on my heart, but the reality is we do need this for our city, and we do need this for our community, and our veterans need this. So those are my words. I support this, but going forward, just give us a chance to know exactly what we're voting for earlier.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead.
I will concur with Commissioner Clemens because my dad is a veteran. My concern is that in the 2 weeks that we had when it was tabled, there was ample opportunity to allow a full-blown presentation. There are several questions I have regarding property tax issue, regarding rental for only. We have a lot of veterans who are younger veterans who would like to be homeowners. I had a concern about the dual with the Community Development Corporation versus the HUD. I understand that's something that's done a lot, but there were a lot of questions that I did not get an opportunity to get the answers to, and also didn't allow Mr. Bonds to conduct a full-blown presentation so the community could see what type of project it is. And for those reasons, when I don't get all of the information that's necessary for me to make the best choice, I will be voting no on this project today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Let's go to roll call.
Commissioner Clemens,
Yes.
Commissioner Chambers,
Yes.
Commissioner Stalling,
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
No.
President Rogi.
Yes. Resolution number 7525.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. I want to make sure that the resolution on the record Just passed.
The resolution passes.
Okay. Yeah, just wanted,
Yes.
just wanted to capture that.
Very good. Resolution number 7525, resolution approving and authorizing the award of a contract with Signal.
President Rogie, you
What am I missing?
You skipped Resolution 7524.
24.
That's fine. No, that's what he said.
Oh, 24. Very good. Resolution number 7524, a resolution of the Board of Redevelopment Commissioners of the City of Gary accepting the transfer of certain real property from private owners to the Redevelopment Commission. And Mr. Harris?
Thank you, President Rogie. So Resolution 7524 is a resolution where private individuals and entities are record owner of certain properties located here in the city of Gary, more particularly as follows: 4020 through 22 Massachusetts Street, 4024 26 Massachusetts Street, 4028 through 30 Massachusetts Street, 4032 through 34 Massachusetts Street, 4036 through 38 Massachusetts Street, 4040 through 4042 Massachusetts Street, 44 Massachusetts Street, and 1522 Taney Place. These are all properties donated, recommended for donation to the Gary Redevelopment Commission within particular redevelopment zones in Glen Park, off Broadway, with the exception of 1522 Taney Place. And Attorney Jenkins, I don't know if you want to give more context regarding 1522 Taney Place, because I think that was a little bit
I think it's a little sensitive, but it's just
Sure.
a property that we're taking back pursuant to a settlement. So it's just being donated to us free of charge, and then we're just taking it back. So it'll be within our inventory of property that we already have accumulated.
Thank you. So with that being said, with the addresses being stated, Indiana state statute provides for the donation of properties to the commission upon terms and conditions as agreed upon by parties, and the redevelopment commission has performed all requisite inspections and finds this property to be acceptable. President Rogie.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept Resolution 7524.
Moving second. Any discussion?
Question?
Question?
Yes, quick question. The properties that's listed here, are they just land or they're land and a building?
So these properties are primarily land on the 4,000 block of Massachusetts Street. It's in a relatively blighted area of the city. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there's one structure that exists on the set of parcels, and it's escaping me which one. But understanding that this block dead ends to, I believe this is the Pennsylvania Railroad. I might have gotten that right. But it's south of 40th Avenue. And it's really our vision to be able to develop a redevelopment strategy for Glen Park. Historically speaking, as a commission, we've spent a lot of time in Midtown because of the severe blight and socioeconomic divide that the city has had from the very beginning. That we are still, cleaning up the past situations. But for this section of Glen Park, this is off Broadway. It's our intention to be able to encourage redevelopment opportunities within line of sight of the Broadway corridor, and encouraging density and housing opportunities for those to be able to access transportation. So having the ability to acquire these properties adjacent to this railroad, which is off Broadway, is what the intent and the desire is. But I believe one of the parcels does have a existing structure that we can address.
So when the redevelopment takes property back from private owners, do you have a plan what you're gonna do with that property, or are we just putting it back and banking it for ourselves until something is presented?
Yeah, so here, the beauty about this donation opportunity is that we have a whole block to develop for the most part that's contiguous. And that's what's the most complicated part about it. So being able to redevelop along the Broadway corridor, what we need to have is site control. And now that we have the ability to have, majority of this block, we can offer for redevelopment opportunities. So there's nothing specific just yet for these sites, but now because if we have a site ownership, we have the ability to offer a site in Glen Park for redevelopment.
Last comment. Will you make sure that when we receive property in that area, I know it's because it's right behind the library.
Yeah.
It's dark back there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the redevelopment, when they take the property, they can try to make sure the lighting, since we were talking about lighting there, in that area, because it's extremely dark at night behind the library, because we're in the 3900 block of Broadway, and then there, that one block over and one block up. So that's right by us leading up to that railroad track.
Right.
So I know exactly where it is. My concern will only be that we get some more lighting back there.
Sure. So with that, so I know that overall we have a lighting plan that's going to be rolling out in the first quarter of next year with Public Works. So we are going to be illuminating areas of the city that have been dark for quite some time, especially at that intersection at 40th Avenue and Broadway. But to your point, now that we have the ability to own a good point of ownership for a majority of the block, we can even consider opportunities of maybe closing off an area to make sure that it's free from illegal dumping as well. So I hear your point, and we definitely hear the concerns about the library. And if we can offer it back into productive use and offer housing there and get people, back into that block and have the library as an amenity, that's what we want. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comment? And roll call.
Commissioner Clemens? Yes. Commissioner Chambers?
Yes.
Commissioner Stalling?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
And President Rogie?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. And now, number 7525, a resolution approving and authorizing the award of a contract with Signal Tech for illuminated signage. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, President Rogie. So Resolution 7525 is before the Redevelopment Commission. We desire to enter into a contract with Signal Technologies Incorporated to install illuminated signage along the Broadway corridor. So Signal Tech came in as the lowest of three quotes for an amount not to exceed $58,825. The illuminated signage will be used along the downtown corridor from 4th Avenue to 8th Avenue along Broadway. The contract is effective, will have an effective date of December 18th, 2024, and shall last until the work is completed, but no longer than December 18th, 2025. And I want to be able to provide additional context based on some public comment that we received about the signage. So if you're familiar with communities surrounding our city, you may have seen business corridors that have illuminated signage that's large and very easy to see for motorists. As we prepare to redevelop the downtown core, the mayor has been very intentional to be able to show signs of progress in showing reinvestment and building confidence in our downtown. So we have the opportunity to invest in the core with providing large illuminated signage along Broadway. This signage would be offered at each intersection, illuminating, Broadway and 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th Avenues. So it's going to provide the downtown corridor a more complete look. We have a lot of work to go. We're very cognizant of that. But this illuminated signage it won't be flashing. There won't be any strobes associated with it. This is just solely illuminated street signage that will be large because we do have a growing and aging population here in our city. We have our boomers that are getting up in age, but they want to retire and be in place here in the community. And we want to make sure that our corridors are safe for all motorists, and that's very important because sometimes 4th Avenue can be a little bit dark. I know we're working, to improve that, but we just want to make sure that the corridor is safe and clear, and that we provide a more complete look for the downtown corridor. So, just want to provide more context to this resolution.
Okay. What do you say?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we, for passage of resolution number 7525.
Second.
Moved in second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I don't know if I heard it correctly. Mr. Harris, did you say in your commentary that you all have already entered into an agreement with this contractor?
No.
Okay.
Forgive me if that's how it read or sound, but we received three quotes from an entity. I'm sorry, we received three quotes from three different entities, to which Signal Technologies was the lowest bidder. We're asking to
Okay.
get permission to enter into a contract with said entity between December 18th through December 18th, 2025, to be able to execute this scope of work.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make
Okay.
sure.
Okay. I appreciate you clarifying.
Now I want another question because there was some comments. This is not an illumination for as lights and flashing and all that kind of stuff.
No. So here, the signage that's before the commission is essentially, again, I'm trying to pick a corridor that maybe many of you have been familiar with. If you've driven through Chesterton or Valparaiso, some of their business corridors have illuminated signage at the intersection. You can actually read, US 30, US Highway X, and it's illuminated. It's branded with the city's branding. It's a particular color. So for the colors that Mayor has recommended would be blue, and it would be branded with the city's logo, and it would read Broadway, IN 53 or US 20 4th Avenue, and it would it'd be adjusted on the intersection and hanging invisible for motorists as they enter into a light. They could see clearly this is US 20 4th Avenue or this is Broadway, and it's not flashing, it's just illuminated.
Yeah, Mr. Harris, the reason why I asked the question, in our packets, we were able to see visual pictures of that. It was just a question that came in public comments about possibly not being in violation of a city council ordinance. So I just wanted you to explain that publicly, that it would not be in violation of that ordinance. And you already showed us pictures of how they look. I don't think the public was able to see those photographs.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Clemens?
Yes.
Commissioner Chambers?
Yes.
Commissioner Stalling?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
And President Rogie.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Resolution number 7526, a resolution of the Gary Redevelopment Commission approving and authorizing an easement for electrical facilities with NIPSCO. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, President Rogie. So Resolution 7526 is a resolution for the City of Gary Department of Redevelopment, also Gary Redevelopment Commission, is owner of said certain property and requesting right-of-way located at 8th Avenue and Washington Street. NIPSCO, our power utility provider, desires to acquire an easement on our property in an effort to develop a new electrical distribution panel. And now, initially, I had conversations with NIPSCO about the need for having this in this neighborhood. Initially, it was asked to have this utility be installed on Broadway, on property that we own between the NIPSCO building and the wig shop on 8th Avenue and Broadway. I highly discouraged that site being utilized because it's prime real estate for redevelopment opportunities along the Broadway corridor. So NIPSCO went back and to look for other properties that we own within that vicinity to help with their power utility needs to serve the downtown core neighborhood. And we've agreed upon that this would be the best site that would offer minimal disruption for future development. This is on the back end of the alley side of two parcels that we own at the northeast corner of 8th Avenue and Washington Street. But again, the easement is designed in such a way that it's adjacent and abutting the alley, the public right-of-way. So it's going to offer minimal disruption for the parcels that we do own for future redevelopment purposes. So that was the happy medium that we were able to work out with NIPSCO, understanding the need for this equipment in this neighborhood and offering an opportunity to serve that need, but also not hinder any redevelopment efforts for us moving forward.
Okay. So, any comments? I gotta make a motion.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 7526.
Second.
Moving second. Comment? Question?
Mr. Harris, the facility they're talking about putting on 8th and Washington, what would it look like? Will it be something that you can see, or will it be all underground, or how will it fit aesthetically in that area?
Sure, good question. So this would be, standard distribution panel equipment. So you're familiar with seeing some of like the gray utility boxes or panels, along the street. So here, this would be accessible with probably some bollards adjacent to it because it is going to be in an alleyway. But in the future, currently you have the old Payday Loan store that's across the street on Broadway that you really won't see that equipment from Broadway. And then from Washington Street, although we own the 2 vacant lots that it sits, we can still redevelop those 2 lots, and then the view would be completely obstructed of the utility infrastructure that's going to be built at this location. Yep.
Roll call.
Commissioner Clemens, Commissioner Chambers,
Yes.
Commissioner Stalling,
Yes.
Commissioner Washington,
Yes.
and President Rogie.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. Director's comments.
Okay. First off, again, I definitely want to wish all citizens of Gary a happy holidays. Can't believe 2024 is nearly complete. I'm really hoping that the community, again, realizes and they see the visual impact that we're making. We're biting, we're taking one bite at a time at a large elephant, but we want to make sure that we're doing this in the most effective, efficient way. But again, we're very excited for development opportunities that we have in 2025. We're actively working out, major opportunities for our city, and we're very excited to, see those announcements roll out when they're ready. I also just want to, encourage our residents moving forward next year that we definitely want to create a spirit of collaboration amongst our community and our developers. I know our developers have been very anxious to be able to help be a part and playing a hand and playing a role in redevelopment of the city. Understand that I know that you've been very patient, with me. You've been very patient with our team and our administration, but understand we're crafting a program to make sure that we provide as much equity in the redevelopment of the city for Gary developers and Gary residents. So we can learn from our past. In our past, as a city, we just have not done the best job when it comes to making sure equity is a part of how we grow. And I think that our commission members are very, passionate about that, and I really appreciate and respect that, and as well as our administration and our mayor. So you've been patient, and I know everyone's been chomping at the bit, when it comes to acquisition of properties. I know that we were able to dispose of some properties earlier this summer, and learning experience for myself of going through that process. I think it's shared and illuminated a lot of kinks in the process that we want to make sure that when we're able to grow and scale our efforts of allowing developers to acquire the property in an effort to help grow the city, that we're doing it in a way that's meaningful, that's not wasting your time and resources, and that we're able to help respond to your needs as you acquire that property and develop it. But I'm excited for 2025 because our team has been collaborating across different departments to make sure that we refine the Gary First program that we're going to be rolling out in the first quarter of next year. And then from that, we'll be able to share with you how the developers can be engaged in Gary moving forward. Also taking advantage of the resources that we've received when it comes to working with the Notre Dame School of Architecture. So we had that charrette opportunity in August. The Notre Dame team has been diligently working since August with the community feedback. I've received the first wave of housing templates that that we're offering, in the Emerson and downtown neighborhoods. The second batch was just recently processed late last week. So I've seen the initial batches, and I'm very excited because it's really going to bring equity and ownership and getting people excited to be infilling these parcels that have been dragged down for so long, right, in the Emerson neighborhood. So I'm very happy to be working with Reagan Hatcher and now Terrell Bonds with the Veteran Homes Project, be able to start putting in action the plan that we've had procured from Notre Dame. It's more than just a plan that's going to sit on the shelf. We're actively making this happen in a meaningful way that respects Gary's identity, its architectural culture, and also looking at equity. Our residents are in need, and we're very cognizant of that. And we're looking and we're excited to introduce opportunities to help satisfy that need in creative ways with land that we own as a commission, be able to help satisfy those who are in need. So I'm very excited for those programs moving forward. But I just wanted to, again, express, my gratitude working with the city of Gary, working with this team, working with this commission to accomplish everything that we've done. Earlier this year was really fighting a lot of battles, when it came to, deals that probably may not have been the best for us when it comes to maximizing what we can at 6200 Industrial Highway. And realizing that we didn't want properties to get tied up into entities that weren't who they say they were. And we were able to successfully do that as a commission. And I'm very excited to have worked with this commission to be able to protect that asset so we can leverage it for higher and better use. Very excited to work with this commission when it comes to South Gleason Golf Course and being able to get that back into the city's control and making that an asset for the community and to improve the quality of life. So, overall this year, it's been a whirlwind. I've gotten a couple gray hairs. I won't lie about that. But it's been very gratifying, and I appreciate the commission, during that process to be able to achieve all of these things in such a short period of time. So that'll wrap up my comments.
Okay. Next is our school board representative.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to say one thing. Christmas break, the holiday break starts next week for the next 2 weeks. So please be cognizant of that. Students will be on the street. Tonight at Gary Middle School, 301 Park Street, superintendent is having a community forum. Would love to see everyone out there. And then also tomorrow night, High School Musical Junior is also going to be at Gary Middle School at 301 Park Street. Did get a brief synopsis. Definitely something to go see. So please go support our students. And one other thing, Westside Boys basketball team recently, last week, received the Sportsmanship Award from the Indiana High School Athletic Association. So good deal for them. And if you get an opportunity, go check out a basketball game during the break also. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Agenda items.
No additional comment regarding agenda items. Well, here, I do have a comment, yes. So in preparation for 2025, we will be completing our blight elimination efforts in the Etna neighborhood come first quarter of 2025 with the support of Reith Riley and a team of dedicated individuals that support the city of Gary. So we may have some business that we might have to call a special meeting in preparation for those special demolition efforts. And again, this is all kind of transpired over the past 2 days, which is exciting. But there's something positive too that I just want to make sure both the commission and the public recognizes is that when we initially targeted 100 homes for demolition, we took 80 approximately through the unsafe building hearing. There were 49 homes that were renovated by owners of property in the Etna neighborhood. that are back on the tax roll. 49. We had individuals fly in from different states, individuals from our community that own property that really shared like, hey, just no one was holding me accountable. And I thank you for sending me this notice, because now you're giving me a reason to actually get this project done, because it's something that's been in the back of my mind. I know, which is very interesting, but I've seen those conversations. Attorney Jenkins has been in those conversations. I think moving forward, we have the opportunity to really encourage owners of property to get their property back into active use, especially in the housing crisis that we're experiencing today. But I just want to make sure that it's known that through our blight elimination efforts in the neighborhood, 49 homes were rehabbed. We're not talking about the 38, 39 that we were able to demolish. So we have 17 properties that were not successful in being able to get it back into active use and get it outside of the unsafe building law for the state of Indiana that we will demolish. But I just wanted to make sure it was known that those 49 homes are back on the tax base and helping stabilize the Edna neighborhood. So we're very excited. We may have some business soon in preparation for the efforts we're working with Reed Riley.
Thank you. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Chairman, I got a few comments I want to make.
Very good.
All right, I want to wish everyone safe and happy holidays, but I want to talk directly to my fellow commission members. I encourage all of us to review the Indiana Code when it comes to the responsibility and the roles of the Redevelopment Commission. Back in, I think, June, Commissioner Clemens and myself, Mr. Harris, members of the staff met with the mayor's office, and one of the things that we asked to happen was that we needed a training for the redevelopment commissioner. We have one new commission member, Mr. Ken Stalling, and the commission members, we need to, in the beginning of the year, use our money to get an independent contractor to come in and do a training regarding the roles and responsibilities of our commission. It doesn't need to be by the executive branch. It needs to be by an independent contractor that has that experience. Let me be clear. The mayor has 3 appointments. The council has 2 appointments, and they have a school board representative. When we make decisions on this redevelopment commission, it is not the mayor, it is not the council, it is each and every one of us as commissioners that are responsible for making choices. In my observation of my 7-8 months on the redevelopment commission, there have been many instances where we have not followed proper procedure and the Indiana Code. One of the reasons why I'm so diligent about making sure that we do things correctly is that I want to make sure that the public is aware of every aspect of what we're doing, because of the great things that are being done with the city of Gary. The public should know this. Let me give you an example of what I think that we as a commission need to decide. Up until that meeting, the redevelopment commission meetings were once a month. In that meeting, and correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Clemens, out of that meeting came at least 2 meetings a month. We need to develop a committee structure within the redevelopment commission, because the challenge, I won't say the problem, the challenge is that when we are charged with having to vote on crucial items, we don't have a system set up that the board members and the community can be able to engage and hear about projects long before we have to vote on them. Gary Common Council, we have a committee structure set up. I'm not suggesting that that structure is as detailed, but for instance, there is a letter that we have approved for potential businesses that want to do business with the city. When it comes to the almost 8,000 properties that we own, there should be a committee through this redevelopment commission that anybody who is interested in providing new construction, anyone who is interested in redevelopment, they should have an opportunity through the public to come before this commission, and we should be able to hear proposals. We should be able to hear what they want to do, and the public should be able to hear that. When there's an opportunity, for instance, with the Veterans Home, which is something that's needed. When we look at the issue with this earlier year with the Palace Theater, when we look at other developments that come up, or if someone says, hey, I want to take some lots and I want to do this, that is an opportune time for that business or that company to come before the Redevelopment Commission in a public setting saying, hey, I'm such and such, I would like to do business, this is the plan that I have. We can meet with them, and I want to make it clear because I'm a believer in systems of checks and balances. It is Mr. Harris and the administration's responsibility that when people come and want to do business, they can properly vet those individuals to make sure they have the financing, they have the reputation, they have everything possible, and then they can come back and bring us recommendations. But at the end of the day, they are recommendations for us as individual commission members to vote on. Without having a structure in place that allows the community to see the great projects that are coming down the pipe, or the opportunity for investors or construction people or business owners to come before us and say, I have this idea, this is what I would like to do. I think as commission members, we owe the public a responsibility at a certain time per month, that if you want to do business and you want to look at buying property to redevelop, they should also not only have that responsibility to try to meet with the executive director, who is in many cases extremely busy, but also that opportunity to say, okay, why don't you come to this committee meeting on this day? And there's going to be 10 people lined up because they have ideas and they want to look at property and they can bring those ideas. There is no pressure. There is no commitment, an opportunity for everyone that has a dream to redevelop property and get these properties back on the tax roll. I think as a redevelopment commission, we do an injustice to ourselves. We do an injustice to residents and business and potential business owners when we only have 2 meetings per month. And all of the work that is stated to be done, the public is not aware. When that issue with the Palace Theater came up, it came to us at the last minute. Then we asked, hey, have a presentation for that Palace Theater, and so the public can see what that project is about. I don't know what's going on with that project. I'm just using that as an example. With the Veterans Home, my concern with the Residence Home when I voted no was because within the 2 weeks, there were other questions that I had. There were other concerns. And in between those 2 weeks, Mr. Bonds could have did a full-fledged presentation to be able to answer questions and show the public, because when he came here 2 weeks ago, he was under fire with a lot of questions, not able to do a full-fledged presentation. And we had 2 weeks in between that time to have him come and do that presentation to answer additional questions, because as Mr. Clemens said, this is a very important project for our veterans. And so I'm just asking our redevelopment commission, our members, in the future next year, number one, let's get somebody to do a training. Number two, let's find an independent attorney to go through our bylaws to ensure that those bylaws match with the Indiana code, because it had been told to us that those bylaws needed to be tweaked to ensure that they align with the Indiana code. That is not the mayor's responsibility. That is not the council's responsibility. That is our responsibility as commission members. And lastly, I would say the reason why we need to have so many more meetings is that no commission member should ever feel rushed that they have to make a decision at the last minute to vote for something because we're being told, if we don't vote for this, we're going to lose $500,000. If we don't vote for this, this project is going to go away forever. If we have more meetings, we can have a meeting anytime we want. So it is incumbent at some point of time, we as commissioners take that responsibility and say, listen, I know you want to do this project, but we all need to be properly informed on what's going on. So if anything is last minute to a certain extent, yeah, we can say to the administration, but we are also to be held liable also because as a redevelopment commission, we can hold meetings at any moment that we need to have those meetings. And what's also a very key point with the redevelopment commission, there are items when it comes to development that we are able to hold executive session on and discuss issues regarding buying, leasing, selling, anything. So we have that opportunity. But if we continue with only having 2 meetings per month, we are going to continue to be on the treadmill running over and over again, not getting anywhere. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Merry Christmas to all of my fellow commission members and to the residents of Gary, Indiana. I digress.
Mr. President,
Thank
can
you.
I have 2 minutes, please, and I'll be done? Just quick. First of all, I want to give kudos to the redevelopment department for what they've accomplished since I've been on the board since February with the collaboration between the GHA, the Notre Dame, and all those different entities. In the beginning of the year, you would have challenges with your staff. Now that you're beginning to get the staff into the place where you would like, one of my desires was to be able to make sure that any developer or any citizen that calls that office can get the information that they need. So if they want to make a presentation to the commission, as Mr. Washington said, they would have done all the due diligence based on what was given from the redevelopment office. If you want to make a presentation to the redevelopment, you need to check this box off, check this box off, check this box off, and check this box off, then you're ready. We don't want them to get past you and you all haven't done the due diligence. I lean on you all's office because, first of all, this is a voluntary position that we sit in. We're not compensated at all. So all of our times are at limited. We just can't pick a time and just go. So we depend wholly a lot on it. I've said it in the public and behind closed doors. We depend on you all to do the job that you all do. And so far, things are getting a little bit better. And also, it's important that we as commissioners keep our mouths shut when we lead these meetings. That we don't go out spreading things into the community that should not be into the community before it's time to get into the community. Not saying that about anybody in particular, but it's important that if we want these other controls to work, other things got to happen to make sure those other controls are in place too. So my thing that I'll be looking for next year is how efficient the office is ran. With all due respects, we can get training. I don't know how it goes. We've served on a lot of boards. I've done a lot of training. My thing is to make sure that the policies and procedures are in place, that we have a good attorney that knows the redevelopment, that it can explain it to us. I do not personally have time for more than 2 meetings a month. If we have to, I'll try to rearrange my schedule. But once again, I depend on this office and the commission and the seasoned commissioners that's been here to share with me some of the things. But there's a lot of things that's going to come up, I know, that's unexpected. It's going to get some stuff at the last minute. I know that's going to happen because the nature of development in a city. But my thing is, I will be holding this office accountable. Chris, your staff, we have to talk to the mayor about what's moving forward, and so that we can be transparent with not just the community, but with ourselves about what we're doing on this commission. And with that being said, happy holidays to all, and be safe throughout the holidays. Thank you so much, and I appreciate serving on the Redevelopment Commission. One more thing, move for adjournment. Oh, man, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. I was gonna ditto. But no, I would just say I'm just looking forward to all of the plans that we have in place here. It's very exciting as to what Chris has shared with us, and just kind of looking forward to a happy holiday season and a bright new year for Gary. Thank you.
Motion?
Motion for adjournment. So move.
Let's go.
Right. Roll call.
Commissioner Clemens.
Yes.
Chambers.
Yes.
Stalling. Commissioner Stalling.
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
Yes.
And President Rogan.
Yes.
So passed.
Adjourned.
Adjourned.